The production of oil is a measure of American progress. As our nation grows, so grows our need for petroleum. This year, every 24 hours, 6.5 million barrels of petroleum will be drawn from the earth by our producing oil companies. How will it all be used? Let's start at midnight and watch what happens on any single day. Let's say it's Tuesday. In the early hours down on the Gulf of Mexico, a new source of oil is being sought. If this well comes in, it will not only help to fuel planes, cars, and ships, and make us strong in arms, it will also serve America in many ways of which we may not be aware. It even plays a part in the operating room where petroleum byproducts appear as the drugs, the alcohol, and anesthetics that may help to save a life or start one. It's morning now, 7:31. The sun is shining somewhere in the Middle West on the construction of an 8-lane superhighway. The ancient Romans were road builders too, but they had slaves to do the work. Today, we push our roads just where we want them to go. Now, the strength in a man's back or in his arms is not important. It's the strength he controls at his fingertips that counts. Now, at a West Coast airport, the 815 plane bound east across the continent is being fueled with gasoline from one of thousands of competing oil companies. Competition among these companies assures our progress, just as competition helped make the change from the Conestoga wagon to the Constellation. We Americans can compete because we're free to fly 3,000 miles across one united land with only a ticket and a baggage check as our passport. In the United States, 9 o'clock in the morning means time for school. Mrs. George W. Martin starts on her first errand of the day, to get gasoline for the car. To Mrs. Martin, her service station is the oil industry. 95% of America's service stations are run by independent businessmen, like Ed Felix. He is an oil man, and like the industry he represents, he knows all about competition. He knows that to compete successfully, he must do more than sell gasoline and oil. He must give service, the kind that will make his station the favorite in town. As the day moves on, and as the Ed Felixes all over the country serve their public, the American farmer is also using up petroleum and many of its products. Oil does scores of jobs farmers would once have thought were miracles. Today, with petroleum, a farmer can fight the odds of nature instead of giving in to them. It becomes easy now to see why new oil must constantly be found. Out here in California, a geophysical crew is taking the first step, making a seismograph survey of what a piece of land looks like underground. They start by placing dynamite in shallow holes filled with water. Then they explode the dynamite. The sound waves are recorded as they echo off the underground formation. But the seismograph picture just tells where oil might be. The only way of actually finding it is to drill. On this Tuesday afternoon in West Texas, a producing company is getting ready to do just that, drill a well. They know that 8 out of every 9 wells drilled in new areas turn out to be dry holes. But even then, they're willing to risk as much as $1 million on a single well, just on the chance of striking oil. Between the crude oil from the ground and finished petroleum products is the refinery. Just 4 decades ago, a refinery was a primitive still making mostly kerosene. Today, some of these great plants employ thousands of people. To many an American community, their establishment and growth has meant new economic life. Every day, vast quantities of oil move out by tank car and by great pipeline systems. One of the biggest carriers of oil is the modern tanker. This one will carry 5 million gallons of petroleum products. While the tanker is loading in California, an oil barge is heading up the Mississippi for the docks of an independent jobber. And in New York at 3 p.m. this Tuesday, the SS America is taking on fuel. Since petroleum provides the power for our ships of peace and ships of war, oil power means sea power for our nation. Power for the sea is also power for the land. The automobile has been a major factor in the growth of our country. To meet the demands of motorists who drive 1 billion miles a day, oil canning plants also work around the clock. It seems no other people in the world want so much to just get going when they have a little time. Maybe it's just that no other people can get going so easily. The oil scientists are pace setters in the race of progress, working with products still unnamed and some that are still unthought of. Our thousands of privately manned oil companies invest millions of dollars every year in research. Each company's objective is the same: discover a new product, perfect it, and get it on the market before the others do. They start with competition. What they create is progress. With a switch to another brand of gasoline, or with the purchase of a new detergent, a company has lost a customer. Another company has gained one. Our Mrs. Martin just today has already used some 87 petroleum products, including the plastic bacon wrapper and the wax of the milk carton. Mrs. Martin is the customer, and the customer is the boss of the oil industry. This Tuesday's daylight has almost gone. Electric power stations are getting ready for peak load. Even though the old oil lamp is a thing of the past, oil still helps light up America. Our Tuesday is ending. The air travelers from the West have crossed a whole continent in a few hours. But not for 1 mile were they out of sight of the men and women of the petroleum industry. The night shift at the refinery has taken over on the stills and fractionating columns. At Ed Felix's, there's still someone to give you service. At the well on the Gulf, the drilling bit, chewing at the rock beneath the bayou, may be closer to oil than it was last night. It is midnight again. Our Tuesday has waned and is gone. In the oil fields, the pump continues hour by hour throughout the 24. It pumps from Tuesday into Wednesday without a halt. Each day, every day, it brings us another 24 hours of progress, building our nation, guarding its security, assuring the future of America. America.